Welcome back, everyone. So we have one of the strangest, most bizarre, and foolish criminals today to take a look at. Today, we're going to talk about Robert Berger. Robert Berger is, well, he should give up a life of crime because he's not very good at it. Now, back in 2020, Robert Berger was out on bail, awaiting to be sentenced on two felony charges. One for taking a Lexus without permission, and the other charge was for taking a truck, in possession of a stolen pickup truck when he didn't have authorization to be using the truck. So they made it a deal to plead down to one, and then while he was awaiting the other one, he decided they were going to combine the two and give him a reduced sentence. So, basically, look, we know you're not the brightest individual, so how about we work out a deal here on these two charges? You agree to plead guilty to this and this, and we'll reduce the sentence overall so you can be out in some time before you start collecting your Social Security checks. So Robert decided, yeah, this was a great idea. He'll take that plea. Well, while awaiting time to, go in for sentencing and his court date coming up, Robert came up with a master plan. In Robert's plan, he decided that he didn't want to go to jail. Matter of fact, Robert didn't want to exist anymore. So what did Robert do? Robert printed off on a home computer a blank death certificate. And he looked at it, and to him, it looked perfectly fine. And he's like, this is great. So then he added it to a paint shop program, probably the original MS Paint, and decided to cut and paste in the information: name, birth date, cause of death, and alike, address. He filled it all out, but he made one tiny mistake. He misspelled the word register, and he put register instead of registry, and in the actual correct box. He spelled it REGTIRY instead of REGISTRY. I just try, or registry, however you want to pronounce it. You can make fun of my language, and my pronunciation later on. But he spelled it wrong, and then that been one thing. He made his own death certificate. But Robert took it a step farther. He went to the courthouse and he turned the death certificate in to the court, saying, well, he can't be sentenced for these two auto thefts, crimes that he had agreed to plead guilty to. He was dead. So he's dead, he can't be sentenced. So thinking that they would just, accept the death certificate that he's dead, and then, never prosecute cases and drop them. The DA took the paper from them, the court clerk took the paper and then turned it into the DA. The DA looked at it and said, there's nothing wrong here. First off, the font, instead of being in the normal font, he put everything in italics, and he made more than one error. That the spelling error was the one that caught the DA's attention. First off, he's like, well, if they make a mistake on a death certificate, they're supposed to correct it, rip it up and do another one. But he started looking at it, and sure enough, they found out he was very much alive and he wasn't dead. So they put out an extra warrant for his arrest, and he was quickly apprehended. Now they would have caught it anyways. Even if you turn in a death certificate, to the DA, they don't just take that and say, okay, and the case is over with, and we're never going to prosecute this. they have a lot of paperwork that must, be submitted. And since they didn't have a certified copy, from the coroner that said that he was dead, they would have went ahead and requested a certified copy from the coroner. And of course, they found out, he wasn't really dead. They already knew that this was bogus. So he was sentenced on the crimes of, for the auto theft plus the addition of, falsifying documents. So he went to jail. Well, this was in 2020. July is when it started in 2020. How did this all work out to today? Well, Robert Berger's name has popped up in the news again, and this time it's with forging documents or being part of a forgery of documents to get inmates released from Nassau County Jail early because of COVID. Yeah, he hasn't learned. He is not the brightest criminal, like I said before. So Robert is going to be, if found guilty, now they haven't had a trial on these, illegal and fake documents for, COVID or early release. But, if he's found guilty of it, he's looking at a lengthy prison time on top of, everything else. So Robert Berger, if you are like Robert Berger, or you have a brother out there, or a father, uncle, somebody who is like Robert Berger, who just doesn't think everything through, please convince them to give up their life of crime, because the law is going to catch up with them eventually. And it's going to be a lot easier for them if they just do the time for the crimes that they've committed. In Robert Berger's case, for the 2 counts of auto theft, he would have been out in probably 12 months, not even prison. He would have served all of his time in the Nassau County Jail. But add the forgery charge to it, well, Robert Berger's going to prison. And now, if he's convicted of the forgery case or being part of the forgeries for early release for COVID, the time that he's going to get now is going to be even longer. He is looking at a possible 2 to 4 years in prison for the falsification of COVID documents if he's actually been involved in it and is convicted of the crime. So the dumb criminals out there, at least we know they're going to keep on getting caught. And they're going to put a bright spot in our day. Instead of talking about all the murders and everything else that we talk about normally, today we get to look at Robert Berger. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is a picture of Robert Berger. Tell me, does he look like a rocket scientist to you? No. No, he doesn't. Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you'd give this a thumbs up, and let YouTube and the algorithm know that you enjoyed this content. If you have only watched one video and this is it, well, thank you for stopping by. But I have a whole channel of over 500 videos for on YouTube right now. Why don't you go check one out? Links down below. There's a next suggested video there. You can subscribe too. I wouldn't mind if you would do that.